Amelia Vance believed in the power of the spreadsheet, the sanctity of a timeline, and the absolute necessity of a clean, organized desk. She was the queen of methodical execution at Sterling and Cole Marketing. Her primary adversary, however, was the human embodiment of chaos. Reese Sterling, the founder's ambitious nephew and Amelia's direct professional rival. Reese lived by instinct, fueled by three-day-old coffee and sudden brilliant bursts of creativity that usually involved last-minute panic and a disregard for anything resembling a schedule. Their rivalry wasn't petty. It was existential. They were both vying for the coveted promotion to Director of Strategy. And the key lay in the Meridian Project, a client pitch worth millions. "Morning, Vance," Reese drawled, leaning against her immaculate white door frame, a crumpled proposal tucked casually under his arm. "Still color-coding your breathing?" Amelia didn't look up from her meticulously planned project flowchart. "Good morning, Sterling. Still treating gravity as an optional suggestion?" He laughed, a deep, confident sound that irritated her calm more than any insult could. He knew he was good, and worse, he knew she found him infuriatingly attractive when he wasn't actively trying to sabotage her workflow. The Meridian Project deadline loomed 2 weeks away, a pressure cooker that already had Amelia working 14-hour days. She needed focus, silence, and order. What she got instead was anarchy. A burst water pipe on the 10th floor where their entire department resided had flooded the main offices, requiring immediate evacuation and a rapid reorganization plan. The company's emergency plan was, naturally, chaos. Most teams were sent home, but the Meridian Project was too critical to pause. "Amelia, Reese," Mr. Cole announced, looking frazzled, "you two are the spearhead. We'll be finishing the pitch from the only available satellite office." Amelia brightened, imagining a sleek, quiet executive retreat. Reese just shrugged, already planning how many energy drinks he could smuggle in. The reality was a former supply closet on the 21st floor, tucked behind accounting. 10 square feet of space. Painted an offensive shade of beige, furnished with 2 small desks, squeezed together. "This is a joke," Amelia deadpanned, staring at the filing cabinet they had to share. It smelled faintly of toner and disappointment. Reese, however, looked energized, cozy. "Think of it as forced collaboration, Vance. Synergy in a sardine tin." He immediately tossed his backpack onto her half of the shared space. "Get your organic clutter off my structured environment, Sterling," she snapped, snatching the bag and placing it firmly back on his side. Day 1 in the closet office was a study in occupational incompatibility. Amelia worked silently with noise-canceling headphones, her keyboard clicked soft and measured. Reese paced. He hummed. He took loud, rambling phone calls with clients, gesturing wildly in the tiny space, and occasionally bumping her elbow. "Could you maybe, possibly, not conduct a symphony of distraction in the immediate vicinity of my brain?" Amelia asked through gritted teeth. "Could you perhaps embrace the spontaneity of existence for 5 minutes and see what happens?" He countered, grabbing a bag of stale chips with a theatrical crunch. That afternoon, the inevitable happened. Their chairs tangled. Reese shifted suddenly, his desk chair's wheel catching hers, sending a stack of Amelia's precisely labeled files cascading to the floor. "You absolute menace," she whispered, leaning down to gather the papers, her voice tight with fury. Reese immediately bent to help, and their hands brushed over the scattered documents, a fleeting contact that was surprisingly warm. "Sorry, truly," he mumbled, his usual cockiness momentarily dissolved by the sheer proximity of her and her justifiable anger. The awkwardness hung heavy. They both retreated to their respective desks, the shared air thick with residual tension that was no longer purely professional. That night, Amelia realized she had forgotten to eat. The deadline pressure made her stomach knot into a painful ball, a familiar sign of her stress mounting. Reese noticed the shift. He watched her meticulously avoid her phone, ignoring her usual dinner alerts. "Look, I ordered pizza," he said, pushing a steaming box across the desk divider Hawaiian. "Don't judge me." Amelia stared at the pizza. She hated Hawaiian, but the gesture was unexpectedly kind, a crack in the rivalry's facade. "Thank you," she said softly, taking a single small slice. I forgot it was 8 o'clock." "We're in the deadline dimension now, Vance," Reese said, biting into his slice with gusto. "Time is an illusion. Only the tech is real." They worked in silence for the next hour, the only sound, the faint hum of the server rack, and the occasional soft chewing. The shared meal felt like an unauthorized truce. The following day, Amelia walked in to find Reese actually organized. His desk wasn't immaculate, but the papers were stacked, and he was working through a complicated financial model. "What happened? Did a fairy godmother visit you?" she asked, genuinely surprised. Reese looked sheepish. "No, I just realized I can't think when I know you're judging my chaos. I'm capable of order, just selectively." He then revealed the secret to his method. He tackled the most challenging tasks first, burning through them before his energy flagged. Amelia, in contrast, built up to the challenge, ensuring the foundation was perfect. "If you applied your energy to the foundation, we could have our time," she pointed out. "And if you applied your structure to my ideas, we could make a masterpiece instead of just a pitch," he retorted. But this time it felt like genuine collaboration, not a jab. Over the next 3 days, they started to merge their methods. Amelia created bulletproof frameworks. Reese injected them with thrilling, high-risk concepts. She found herself relaxing slightly under his influence. He, in turn, began using post-it notes, much to his own visible chagrin. One night, while reviewing slides, Amelia yawned so widely her jaw clicked. Reese silently reached over and adjusted her chair's height. "Ergonomics, Vance. Don't want your back seizing up before the finish line," he muttered, avoiding her eyes. It was a tiny, domestic gesture in the most undomestic of settings, and it sent a surprising flush through her cheeks. That evening, Amelia finally confessed to vulnerability. She admitted that the higher the stakes, the more she was gripped by performance anxiety, which she masked with hyperorganization. "The structure isn't for the client, Reese. It's for me. It's a cage for the panic," she confessed, leaning her head on her stacked arms. Reese stopped sorting files. He looked at her, his emerald eyes serious. "I get it. My spontaneity? It's a defense. If I move fast enough, I don't have to admit I'm terrified of failure." They shared a long look across the cramped space, a moment of profound shared understanding. Their rivalry was born not of hate, but of two scared people using different shields. On the 4th day of their confinement, disaster struck the Meridian project itself. A core dataset critical to their financial projections was corrupted and lost. 2 weeks of work, Amelia whispered, staring at the blank screen, the panic she had spoken of beginning to rise like bile in her throat. Reese didn't panic. He stood up, grabbed her shoulders, and forced her to look at him. "Hey, stop. We don't have time for a meltdown. It's gone. The data is gone, Reese. Can't rebuild that in 4 days." She insisted, her voice shaking. "Well, yes, we can. You have the structure, and I know who built the original database architecture. You can call in a favor." For the next 72 hours, they became a single, desperate unit. Sleep was a myth, and the supply closet was their bunker. Reese charm-talked the retired database analyst into remote assistance, while Amelia kept the entire process documented and streamlined. Amelia found herself in awe of his relentless energy, his refusal to accept defeat, and the genuine care he took to ensure the analyst was comfortable. Reese, in turn, relied entirely on Amelia's structured notes and meticulous backups, realizing her organizational skills weren't a quirk, but a superpower. They were so close during the data recovery that their knees occasionally bumped beneath the desk, or their breath mixed as they leaned over the monitor. Amelia noticed the tiny, appealing dent in Reese's chin when he concentrated, and the way he ran his hand through his already messy hair when he was frustrated. Reese noticed the flicker of triumph in Amelia's usually guarded eyes when she solved a complex problem, and how her scent clean and faintly citrusy had somehow colonized the small room. On the night before the final pitch, they had successfully recovered all the data and woven it seamlessly into the presentation. The pitch deck was a masterpiece. Amelia leaned back, exhausted, the adrenaline finally giving way to bone-deep fatigue. "We did it," she murmured, a genuine smile touching her lips. "No, we did it," Reese corrected, his voice raspy from lack of sleep. "I tried to wing the financial model, made it look like a Pulitzer Prize winner." The room was silent save for the hum of their laptops. It was 3 a.m. They were alone in the huge, dark building. Reese swiveled his chair to face her, the beige closet suddenly feeling less like a prison and more like a sanctuary. Amelia, he started, his voice barely a whisper. The rivalry was always stupid. You know that, right? That it was necessary, she argued weakly. It drove us, no, it hit us, he countered, leaning closer. I was so busy hating your spreadsheets, I almost missed the brilliant woman behind them. He reached out and gently brushed a stray strand of hair from her face. His touch was featherlight, yet felt like a seismic shift. Amelia's heart hammered against her ribs. She was too tired to resist the feeling that had been building between them for 7 days. And I was so focused on labeling you chaos incarnate, she admitted, meeting his intense gaze that I almost missed the loyalty and passion you hide behind the jokes. I hate that we're rivals, Amelia, because what I really want is to be your partner in everything. The admission hung in the air, heavy with consequence. This wasn't just about a promotion anymore. Reese closed the final inch between them, his movement deliberate, asking permission with his eyes before his lips met hers. The kiss was slow, deep, and utterly perfect. It was the culmination of shared exhaustion, mutual respect, and a week of inescapable closeness. It wasn't the spontaneous chaos she expected from him. It was measured and passionate, exactly what she realized she needed. When they finally broke apart, Amelia's breath hitched. Grease, she breathed, half warning, half plea. We finish the pitch. We win the pitch. Then we figure out what this means, he promised, his forehead resting against hers, his hands cupping her face. They spent the next 2 hours perfecting the presentation, the energy between them now, a synergistic flow of romance and ambition. The final pitch was flawless. Amelia's structure gave it credibility. Reese's dynamic delivery made it unforgettable. They walked out of the boardroom, hands brushing, both knowing they had just secured the contract. Now came the true deadline. The decision on the director of strategy promotion. 3 agonizing hours later, Mr. Cole called them both into his undamaged, clean office. The Meridian Project win was historic, Mr. Cole announced, smiling broadly. But it presented a challenge regarding the promotion. Amelia gripped the edge of her skirt. Reese stood tall, his hands subtly resting on the back of her chair. Individually, you were both exceptional, but together, you were unstoppable, Mr. Cole continued. Your combined skills secured this deal, so who gets the job, sir? Reese asked, his voice steady. Mr. Cole leaned back. Neither of you. Not the way you think. Amelia blinked, confused. Reese frowned. Creating a new role, co-directors of project innovation, Mr. Cole stated. Amelia, you focus on strategy and structure. Reese, you focus on vision and execution. You both get the title, the salary, and the responsibility. But you will always work together. You've proven you're a package deal, the boss concluded. Amelia and Reese exchanged a shocked, elated look. They had won the war, but simultaneously secured the forced proximity that had started the whole thing. They shook Mr. Cole's hand and left the office, walking past the crowded, temporary desks on the 9th floor. Reese pulled her into a quiet corner, his voice filled with playful mischief. Co-directors. That means more shared office space, right? Amelia smiled, a genuine, unguarded smile that lit up her entire face. I think it means mandatory collaboration for the foreseeable future, Sterling. Good, he murmured, pulling her close and kissing her again, this one filled with the promise of a future they had built together in 10 square feet. The rivalry was dead. Long live the partnership. The deadline for love had been met, and the project was a resounding success. Thank you for watching Deadline for Love. Hey, what's your favorite trope? Office romance or forced proximity? Let us know in the comments below. Comment, like, share, and subscribe to Storycraft Studio.